I've been in DPS for 9 years now, well, almost 10. It's actually, it's not as bad as they like to say on the news and stuff. Like, they only like to point out the bad stuff, but they don't like to point out the good stuff. For instance, like, we're, especially my school, we're really good. We have a bit, MSNBC came to our school and they said that our studio, our small studio here, is actually bigger than their actual studio. MSNBC said that. They're a major network. So they never like to highlight all the good stuff, like, especially our school. We get so much money every week for how great we are, and they never want to put that on the news.
Okay, so what school do you go to exactly?
I go to Detroit School for Performing and Fine Arts.
Detroit Public Schools is unique because growing up in a city like Detroit, it is hard to become successful, and you have hard-working teachers that are there for you.
Well, I'm a product of the Detroit Public School system. Like any system, I know that there are challenges, and I know the people in my city, and I know the people that I live with. And in my experience with DPS, I don't think I would have done anything differently. I love the teachers that I had, and I love my experience.
If you have teachers that care, they can make a difference no matter what school that you're in. And I love the city of Detroit. I've lived here my whole life, even though I've traveled. And I said, it can turn around. If the people actually have a heart, if it's not about getting a paycheck, and it's actually a joy of educating children, then I still have faith in the system, and I know it can change.
Altogether, it's just a school system that's brought together for the public. So if you don't have like money to go to a charter school or a private school, you just go to a public school, and it's like community based. So it just helps bring people together so that everybody can get a balanced learning, a balanced education, things of that nature.
I most certainly think that being a DPS student will prepare me for college because I've learned so much and I know how to be professional with stuff. And like, we've had meetings, because I forgot to mention, I'm a producer for the district-wide show DPS Spotlight, and we have had to have meetings with adults and things like that, and we became more vocal and more articulate to do stuff. Also, we learned so much, and not only in our field, but as well as academics also. Like, next year I'll be able to take 2 math classes, so that in my senior year I can take calculus, which is really great because that looks really good on college applications.
I don't think anything is perfection, and I don't think that any school system or any situation is and just exists just the way that it is, and nothing can be made better. Obviously, there have been a lot of changes as far as even with the emergency manager and things like that, and I think these are all efforts to really put Detroit Public Schools in a position where they're functional and where they work, and where the outcome, the students who are graduating from these schools are ready and ready to compete. And so continued progress with all the things that are happening now. I guess my hope is that there's just always continued progress.
I believe that making sure that every child has an opportunity to learn, as long as there's a healthy setting for them to learn with the right culture and curriculum in every neighborhood, I know that we can make a difference in this city as a whole.
We have certain students in DPS, regardless of what situation they're in, they excel. Other students, they have to be pushed. So therefore, if those students that are not automatically, motivated, then there needs to be things in place that will help motivate them, and that's by finding out about the whole child, things they enjoy, and at that point in time they will learn that it's not about what I like, but what I don't like I must also learn, because that's how life is. I grow and develop, and eventually I'm well-rounded, and regardless of what situation I'm in, I can excel.
Because I attended Detroit Public Schools, and I know how education and the educational system was at one point in time and how it is now, it's basically deteriorated. And I take the initiative to educate my children at home and be involved with their education besides what they do in school. Because with the way that things are, I can't just leave it to the teachers. And they're very capable teachers. But in the point in time when I was in school, we were held accountable by our parents and by the teacher. The quality of the education was totally different. I participated in the No Child Left Behind program as a teacher. And when I found out the reading and math level and comprehension period of high school students, it broke my heart. And I just made a conscious effort and a decision that because of those deficiencies, until they're fixed, and it's going to take unity, because the teachers, in a lot of ways, their hands are tied. So I just make the point to make sure that my children aren't lacking in anything. I sit down with them. I make them read, because reading is a lost art. I see what they enjoy. If they struggle somewhere, instead of telling them how you're not doing this, you're not doing that, I find out where they're struggling, and I help them through that point. So when they go, they don't have to worry. There's so many stresses in school as there is when you're a child. And trying to comprehend and trying to understand, and you're trying to fit in and be accepted, even though that's not important to me, but to them it is. So as a father, if I can make it easier by helping them, that's what I'm there to do.
When I work in Detroit Public Schools, I see a lot of similar things to what I experienced in the classroom. I see some really excellent teachers. I had the privilege of working with some teachers at Western High School recently. They were phenomenal. I was really floored by their skill level, and I don't really see the things that I hear about teachers being low performing. That's just not part of my experience in Detroit Public Schools so far.
When I see DPS on the news, when I see the bad stuff, I'm like, well, I like how they're saying all of this bad stuff, but they don't want to show the good stuff. When in truth, we do have some bad things, but when that's all you like to highlight, it's just going to get worse. Like, you can't tell somebody they're doing bad and expect them to do good, because you're already convinced that we're bad. So we don't have a chance to get good if in your mind it's set that we're bad.
It should be more college visits, exposure to different things outside of the city, and other than that, I think that Detroit Public Schools are great.
As a freshman, I already have 3 scholarships, and I'm a product of the DPS school system, and actually 2 of those scholarships are for being a DPS student. So I think that DPS has a lot to offer.
I think schools can benefit from community organizations and connecting young people to what's going on in the neighborhood. I have to start with Build On. With Build On, we are engaging whole school communities for service learning and community service. So I feel like we're a part of that. I know that the Osborne Neighborhood Alliance has a youth development piece that they do, and so far I've seen really incredible things. I am always really pleased to see Letty Ann's writing in Our Life in the D. I think that's a really incredible piece of youth development. And anything that we can do to support youth, I think, ends up supporting education. In Southwest Detroit, we work with Southwest Solutions and the Youth for Youth program. They're doing really incredible work. I also know that there's the Harriet Tubman Center, that they're doing a youth development piece as well, and youth organizing, and some of that stuff is just totally amazing. They put on rallies and engage young people in community change.
It's very important that parents play a role and participate in education, especially when you're a parent and you complain that the educational system is failing. Find out where it's failing. Help your child. Don't just keep saying it's failing and it's not working and you're doing nothing. Because if you can admit it's failing and it's not working, then your children are in that environment of failure. And are you helping to improve them, or are you just saying, okay, it's failing, it's not working, and that means you're failing? You're not doing anything to help it. You're coming with problems, but you're not coming with any solutions. So they have to participate. Even if it wasn't your strong suit, even if you felt I'm not too good, then it's an opportunity for you to practice and you to get better with your child.
We have a range of different levels of engagement from parents and Build On. Some parents are fantastic in giving their children rides everywhere, because we're all around the city. So young people at Osborne have come to Oak Park, to a food pantry there, to work with me to pack food, and some people get rides from their parents, and so we'll talk to the parents if they are present. Lots of our young people take the bus to our service sites, so we don't get to meet their parents. And the youth that are involved with our track program, which is the young people that get to help build schools overseas, those parents are heavily involved. They have to attend a parent meeting so that they can get all the information they need to know about sending their child to a developing country. And then those young people are involved with a year-long program where they engage before and after the trip that they take. So those parents, I'd say, are heavily involved. We have a whole range, and so we try to make it work for all kinds of young people and all kinds of families. It's definitely easier to work with young people whose parents will at least give them rides, but we try to work with the young people who need to provide their own transportation as well.
DPS, the Detroit Public School System, is a great district, and please don't think that we're bad just because of the media. If you actually came to a nice DPS school, you would be totally blown away. Thank you.